Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into the Shelby County High School football pregame show, live on location, 3 different spots once again this week. We've got Tyler Rayleigh on board out at Moody High School tonight as the Helena Huskies hit the road to take on the Moody Blue Devils, and former Thompson assistant coach and Chelsea star Jake Gaines there at Moody for the second year in a row. And Andrew makes the trip down Highway 280 to Alex City as he gets
Yes, as Alec was saying, I am out here at Benjamin Russell High School getting ready for an awesome battle between the Spain Park Jaguars and the Benjamin Russell Wildcats, getting ready for a great Shelby County pregame. Sure, for all you guys, we'll get Alec back on shortly as his connection is a little rough out there in Alabaster. Looks like he's rejoining right now. Alec, can you hear us? We will get him back on shortly. Right now, let's go ahead and start with our AISA and ACSC roundup as we go through an 11-game slate to get you guys started on this Alabama High School Friday night. We'll start out with Coosa Valley and Escambia down there in the AISA. Last week, Coosa Valley lost a shootout with the Trinity Eagles. And Tyler, it looks like for this team, Coosa Valley is a really good offense, but it's going to be that defense that we're going to be looking at going against an undefeated Escambia team.
Well, when you look at Escambia, they are a high-powered offense. And that's exactly what Coosa Valley faced last week in Trinity. I think it's going to be all about whether this defense can push through, power through, and make the tough plays against a very dominant Escambia team after they had a 44-12 win over Southern Prep last week. It's just going to be all about whether this Coosa Valley team can play the defense and make the plays, because we know they can play well on offense and get themselves in a position to sustain this.
Sounds good. Alex, you got any thoughts on this Coosa Valley matchup as you're back on with us?
Somebody decided to call me right as the show starts, and it kicked me off of everything. But it booted me out, and I got back in, and now my display is as good as it's been all season, so I'll take it. It may have been a blessing in disguise there, but yeah. It's an exciting night across the board. I know y'all started diving in a little bit, talking about the Coosa Valley matchup there. And when you look at that game, this is an Escambia team that out of the gate has been as talented as any there in the AISA. Coosa Valley, though, we've seen some impressive steps there from that team offensively this year, and I expect that they're going to continue to have success moving forward in the rest of the season on both sides of the ball, really, but especially on the offensive side of the ball. Tonight, though, I'm sure y'all have said it, that Escambia team, very challenging. It's a defense that's given up 12, 0, 0, and 12 in the first 4 games, with an offense that scored 40-plus, 60-plus in 2 of those 4 as well. So offensively and defensively, that's a team that's clicking right now. I expect Escambia to win that game there. Have y'all talked to Banjo Ezekiel yet?
We have not. Right. Let's go ahead and dive right into that.
Well, let's shift to that one now. We're back on track now here on the Shelby County High School football pregame show. A busy night ahead with some huge region games. Before we jump into the AHSAA, though, we got to talk about the Evangel Lightning taking on Ezekiel, and a game that's really important for both these teams if they want to win an ACSC state championship this year. Both have had some down moments early in the season that they're not used to experiencing. This is an opportunity to get right. Evangel sitting at 1-3. Ezekiel sitting at 2-2. Andrew, you're very familiar with this Evangel program. Head coach Tim Smith. Are they going to be able to get back on track with a big rivalry win this week?
It's really a difficult game to call just because there's so many emotionals that go into this Ezekiel game. It's a big rivalry game for these two schools, despite the distances that separate them geographically. If you remember, that 2021 game in the state championship was the last game that Evangel lost in 8-man play prior to this year. And there's a team that Evangel always likes to contend with in the ACSC, but it's an Evangel team that I think right now is dealing with 2 things. Obviously, one, you're dealing with some health problems at quarterback in Eli Black. Trey Hope had to step in last week against a pretty solid Freedom Cowboys team. And then obviously Eli Black has been the playmaker for them on both sides of the ball. They'll want him at his healthiest if they want to contend within this matchup. And I think this team is also dealing with a little bit of crisis of confidence as well. This is a team that normally expects to be winning games and winning them pretty handily. And now you enter this matchup at 1-3. yes, it is the start of conference play in this game, and you now have 4 games to make your case to be that number 1 seed in the ACSC playoffs. But obviously, there is a little bit of a hangover coming over from those games. So I do think Evangel, with as well coached as a team this is going to be a team that sees a bounce back tonight. But it could be a really close one, and I could really see this one going either way. Whereas before the season, I would have seen this as a handily Evangel win, I should say.
Well, Tyler, your quick thoughts on this game as well.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how do you bounce back, and really, do you worry if you're head coach Tim Smith? I mean, I think, yes, it's a real shot in the dark to say that see them starting 1-3, but I do believe, like Andrew said, that this team can get back and on track against a very good Ezekiel team. Like we said, a rivalry game, high expectations, high tempers flaring. I do think Evangel gets back on track. I'm optimistic for this team despite the 1-3 start.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to play determined, hungry, angry a little bit tonight as well, and I think that bodes well for them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That defense has been a highlight for them for several years now. The offense has been pretty steady and consistent, maybe not where it has been the last several years, but defensively they're going to come out, play a good football game tonight. I think that's the difference maker as the Evangel Lightning go on the road and pick up a win against Ezekiel. Well, that takes us into the AHSA, and we've got some big games to talk about, and we're already about 35 minutes away from kickoff, so we're going to jump straight in. We're going to start with Vincent in Class 2A as the Yellow Jackets get a big matchup against Celigent, and this is a Vincent team that seems to have found its rhythm at the right time. Going into their bye week, they pick up a big win the week before. Jaden Roberts, big rushing performance going into that bye week. Comes out, they play well last week, a 53-18 win a week ago as well over Lamar County. So this is a team that seems to be clicking. They get a Celigent team that's been pretty consistent, though, on both sides of the ball. Played a fairly difficult schedule as well. Andrew, I'll start with you. Vincent's confidence, the growth they've seen on that front, is that going to be enough tonight for them to pick up a big region win here over Celigent?
I think so, because I think both this offense and defense are operating at a level where they can contend with a team like Celigent, which has had a fairly difficult schedule coming into this one as a top 10 team within Class 2A, just like Vincent. These two teams are going to be right in the mix for that region title along with Tuscaloosa Academy and Isabella. So this is a really good opportunity for Vincent to now step in after getting off to a 1-0 start in region play to take on one of the teams that they're going to be fighting for that region championship. And I really do like how this team has progressed over the last few weeks. We saw a little bit of struggles against a really good Winterboro team coming out of the gate. Then Jaden Roberts got into the mix, helped them go as well. We saw a little bit of good quarterback play, especially early on against Lamar County. I think it's Lane Mims and Landon Arch were rekindling a connection they had in the first drive. They'll be really good. But since defense has been a really good through line of the season, even dating back to the Winterboro game, there's a defense overall that's operating at a very good clip. And it's a Celigent team that, while it's had a solid offensive showing overall against their schedule, it hasn't exactly inspired a lot of confidence. So I think that Vincent's defense is going to be absolutely key to them getting a close win tonight. Yeah,
I agree. I think the defense is going to be a key here. And Tyler, that's what showed off a year ago in a hard-fought battle really between both teams. But it was Vincent's defense in a 29-6 win. Do you see a similar performance this year? Maybe a little bit tighter, but do you think the defense is going to limit Celigent enough to be able to win this football game?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting, especially considering Celigent is making that 2.5-hour drive from Northwest Alabama all the way out here to Shelby County. And when you think about it, Vincent, I think their defense is going to thrive off the offense's performance. And after the offense had a 300-yard rushing performance last week, I do think it's a lot of momentum they're going to carry into this game. Ultimately, it will be enough, I feel like, to be able to get back and put them in the mix here and pick up a win against a very consistent Celigent team, as you said, Alex.
Well, I don't know where that audio is coming from. Okay, there we go. All right. I think Vincent's defense is going to be the difference maker tonight in that game. So great opportunity for the Yellow Jackets there as they host Celigent. Good chance that they pick up another region win here heading into the midway point of the season. That takes us on to the Shelby County Wildcats, who have, like Vincent, also hit their stride recently. They get a road trip to take on Northside tonight, and they bounced back in great fashion the past 2 weeks to kick off region play. They fall 35-13 to Holtville in week 2. Since then, they downed Sipsey Valley 31-8 and Jemison 41-7. That defense has looked much more like what we expected it to coming into the season. They're going to have to play well tonight to be able to pick up a win, in particular on the defensive side of the football. This is a very good Northside team, one that I think is the region favorite right now to win the region championship here in this region, scoring 52.5 points per game, and get this, giving up 3 points per game. It's going to be a tough night for Shelby County's offense to have success. Andrew, does their defense keep them in it, and can the offense make a big play to win a game?
Well, the defense has been a little inconsistent to this point in the season. You see them make some really good plays, especially along the edges, but then all of a sudden they just give up big plays as well. I saw that a couple months ago against Sipsey Valley. They did a much better job controlling those against Jefferson last week in the massive win. But I think they'll go as far as their play along the edges goes on both sides of the ball. I think we're going to have to succeed well on defense, prevent those plays from one side, because Jackson Rhodes has incredible on in and has thrown no interceptions so far this season. So on top of that, you're also going to have a really good game from a quarterback perspective. Still unsure as of game time if Ryan Sykes can go or not. So if Lane Foster will have to go, he has really inexperienced on him, and that could change things to be a little bit more than that. Just because of all the unknowns and because of what Wordside's shown this season, I'm going to have to go with the Rams.
Hey, Andrew, while you're off here for a second, I'm going to get you to try to play around with your audio there real quick. It's coming through pretty rough at the moment. But, Tyler, I'll turn to you, and we talk about this game. This is a Northside team. Shelby County won this game 35-28 last year. This year, though, it's a completely different Northside team playing much better football. This is a game they come into, to me, as the favorite in this matchup. But Shelby County's defense and the confidence they built there, is that enough to keep this a competitive game and give them a chance to win this football game tonight?
I think it's an odd situation we're sitting here at, Alec. And, Northside, yes, they are 4-0 on the season, but the jury's out on the teams they've played so far, right? They started the season with West Blockton, Cordova, Montevallo, and Selma. 4 teams that you just look at, and it is, is the strength of schedule really there for Northside? I don't think that takes away from the talent that they have, but the point total is definitely has a little bit to do with what they've gone there. And I just think, while Shelby County's defense is improving, they're getting the confidence back. I think this Northside team has built up enough offensive momentum that they're going to get on the roll there. And I think they come out with a win tonight there at home. And I think the Rams are a very subject team to win to move to 5-0 this season here at the halfway point.
Yeah, Shelby County, not a bad football team. I still think they're a top 3 team in this region. It's just tough at the top end there with those 3 teams, Shelby County, Northside, and Demopolis. I think Shelby County and Demopolis may be on a little bit more of a level playing field than people think this year. But right now, Northside seems to be the favorite with how well they're playing on both sides of the ball. I expect the Rams to pick up a win there on their home field tonight against the Shelby County Wildcats. Well, that takes us to the Briarwood Lions, who are playing as hot as any team in the county right now. The turnaround they've had since that 0-2 start has been unbelievable, as they now sit at 2-0 in region play, 2-2 overall, but those 2 region wins, the key aspect there. They travel to take on Winona tonight in a huge region game. Win this one, there's a good chance you're playing for a region championship here in a few weeks. Before we jump in and talk about this game, though, I got to tell you about 3D Air Services, who's proudly sponsoring the Briarwood Lions this year. Since 2005, 3D Air Services has proudly called Shelby County home. They're more than just your trusted HVAC company. They're your neighbors, friends, and supporters. From keeping your home comfortable year-round to sponsoring local schools and athletic programs, they are committed to making a difference in our community. Just ask your neighbor. Chances are they've already been there. As proud sponsors of the Briarwood Lions, 3D Air believes in the power of teamwork, dedication, and community spirit, values they carry with them to every job they do. Your trusted neighbor, keeping Shelby County comfortable one home at a time. It's 3D Air Services. Well, guys, that takes us to a big one. Briarwood and Winona. This is a matchup that Briarwood, the way they're playing right now, should go in and win this game, but it's going to be a challenge. Andrew, I start with you as they take on Winona tonight. It's a 2-1 Dragons team coming off of a bye week, ready to go in this matchup.
Yeah, it's a Winona team that really stood up the corner a couple of weeks ago. It was a really good regional battle there, and you expect that Briarwood and Corner in the end are going to be those 2 teams atop the region. So this is a huge one for Briarwood to put it in position for a potential region title game in 2 weeks. And it's the offensive turnaround that's been the complete difference for this Briarwood team. The defense has been consistent all season long, and I think it's going to be key here once again against Winona as well. But it's gonna be coming down really to the offense and how they're able to mix up things on that side of the ball as well. We've seen a lot of really good runs out of Jamison Barnes, but he obviously can't be quarterback all of the time. So we're going to have to see some things out of Charles Dedman as well with his arm, kind of like how he did last week. A pedestrian 176 for him with a couple of touchdowns. But I think he really did a lot more than that 176 show last week. I think he really put together the start of something that's going to end up being a greater thing for the Lions down the road. I do like Briarwood in this one, as long as the offense continues that trend that we've seen in the past few weeks. Otherwise, it could be a really rough battle for the Lions.
Tyler, you look at the stats in this one. Winona scoring 22.3, which is about 10 more points per game than Briarwood is, and they're giving up just 9.3, which is about 10 points less per game than Briarwood's giving up. So the numbers tell you that so far Winona's been the better team, but the last 2 weeks, I think that's a completely different picture. What says you on this matchup between Briarwood and Winona tonight?
Well, I think Briarwood comes out and gets a gutsy win like they have the past 2 games. And to be able to start 2-0 in region play, I think that's dramatically huge and a difference from what they had last year after that 0-5 start. To be able to go against this Winona team with some momentum, 2-0 in region play, and come out with the fire on your side, I do think Briarwood comes out, takes this game pretty not handily, but it's going to be a tight, hard-fought win. I think Jamison Barnes and Charles Dedman are going to be the relying points, and I think it's the first game of a crucial stretch for them to get a game against Winona, and then they have to move on to Leeds in the corner, I believe, after this. So I think getting this game against Winona will be big, but it's a matter of them coming out and starting hot like they have the last 2 games.
Yeah, Briarwood right now, the improvement offensively, they're going to have some confidence on that side finally. That's the big step. The defense was going to keep them in every game regardless the rest of the year, but now the offense playing as well as it is, that gives me faith and confidence that the Lions can pick up a big road win here against Winona. It's going to be a tight game, though, guys. This is a game that both of these teams know exactly what it means and the potential for home field advantage early in the playoffs this year, and just their playoff hopes in general and their region championship hopes as well. So a great opportunity for the Briarwood Lions. I, too, think with that offensive improvement, they go on the road and pick up a win tonight there at Winona. Well, that takes us to arguably the most improved team in Shelby County this year, the Pelham Panthers, who are hosting Chilton County tonight just down the road from me here at Thompson High School. Panthers take on the Tigers in a big region matchup. Last year, 1-9 Pelham team. This was their lone win. This year, Pelham already playing much better. They not only already have 2 wins under their belt, but 2-0 in region play, and they're playing some good football at this point in time. Just like we did with Briarwood, we got to tell you about 3D Air Services. We're about to hit that time where you're going to have to crank that heat on. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but I promise in the next month or so, you're going to have that heat turned on, and 3D Air Services is going to be who you want to turn to get that heat tuned up going into the fall and winter months. They can also check your air, anything you need. They're proud sponsors of the Pelham Panthers. They're your trusted neighbor, keeping Shelby County comfortable one home at a time. It's 3D Air Services. Guys, the Pelham Panthers, they don't need to call 3D Air Services. They are hot right now. They're playing some good football. Andrew, I turn to you first. When you look at this Pelham team and the improvements, really been on the defensive side of the football, but they've shown the offense can play well and win games like last week against Calera, where the defense kind of took a step back from the improvement that we saw the first few weeks. So this is a team in Chilton County Pelham's better than this year. They got to go out and play like it.
Absolutely. This is definitely a game that should be an easy win for the Panthers, but we've seen them within the past few weeks turn easy wins into more difficult results. You only have to look last week to Calera, a team that, while Calera has some talent, should definitely be a lot better than its 0-4 record currently states. It's a team that I think that Pelham had a good leg up in terms of momentum going into that matchup, and they were not able to put the game away multiple times in the second half. So we're going to have to see this team play a full, consistent 48 minutes of football down the stretch in order to make this a good one going into the back half of region play. And that's where tonight comes in. You have a bye week next week. You have a little bit of an easier test this week against Chilton County, the worst team in the region that has not really had a whole lot much going for it in its favor at all this season. So you do expect the Panthers to want to come out, make sure that they attack this one, and keep stacking improvement on top of each other. You've got to remember, this is still a very young team under a first-year head coach. Despite all of the improvements that they've made, stark and vast as they may be, this is still a team that's very much a work in progress, and I think we start to see some more improvements.
Well, Tyler, I turn to you. Same question. This is a Pelham team so improved defensively this year, but the offense playing well with all those weapons. Got to figure it's going to be a pretty routine night for Pelham as they go out and look to get to above 500 for the first time since 2023.
I think as long as they make the simple things easy, man, it should be a cruise game for this Pelham team. Like you said, the offense is shown out with Tristan Rutledge getting over 100 yards rushing and Jacob Gibbs and Marcus Arnold both catching over 100 yards receiving. It should be a cruise win for this Pelham team.
Well, and I agree. I think it's as balanced of a Pelham offense as we've seen in a while. The key was going to be the offensive line for them to be successful. They've looked good this year, but when you got Tristan Rutledge at running back, you've got 3 receivers that you have a ton of trust in to throw the football to, and a returning experienced quarterback in Dylan Smith. Pelham's the better team in this matchup. If they don't win it, it's because they turned the ball over and they're not focused tonight. They should go out, take care of business, and get above 500 for the first time since 2023, and 3-0 in region play. Tidbit for you, for the first time since 2020. So an impressive start to the season, and if they can pick up that win tonight at home against Chilton County. Well, Tyler, we head to your neck of the woods over there in Moody. A big matchup for the Helena Huskies as they take on the Moody Blue Devils, a team in the 5A classification that is a very real threat to win a state championship. Meanwhile, Helena needs a ton of confidence right now with another big non-region game next week, and then jumping into a difficult slate of region play as they look to try to chase down a playoff spot this season. Before we talk about this game, though, got to tell you about Oak Mountain Hearing, as they are proud sponsors of the Helena Huskies. Don't let hearing loss bench you this season. At Oak Mountain Hearing, we help you stay in the game so you don't miss a single play. Whether you need help with hearing aids, hearing loss, or tinnitus, Oak Mountain Hearing is here to help. Now open in Pelham, call 205-728-1690 to set up a consultation. Don't let hearing issues affect your well-being. Hear every word effortlessly with Oak Mountain Hearing. 205-728-1690 or oakmountainhearing.com. Tyler, I turn to you first. You're at this game tonight. This is a Moody team that's playing really good football right now. Offense is playing well. Defense is playing well. Meanwhile, Helena's kind of on the opposite end right now. They've struggled a little bit defensively. They've given up a lot of points. Now they're taking on a team in Moody that's scoring. Helena doesn't want this game to be a track meet. Moody does. Who's going to win that battle tonight?
Well, I'm not going to take long because we're closing in on probably like 15 minutes to kick off here. But let me just say, guys, this Moody atmosphere, I've never been out to the Bill before. Oh, my gosh, this is one of the greatest things I've seen in my life, seeing this atmosphere out here in Moody. But, yes, like you said, 42.7 points per game for the Blue Devils right now. They got a ton of star power on their team, starting with Jake Lowry at quarterback. He's thrown a touchdown pass to 7 receivers. And when you got players around you like Cameron Meadows, Josiah Dozier on the offensive end, and then you got Cam Mallory and Barack Willis on the defensive end, it's just a recipe for disaster right now for Helena. Helena needs to get something going and get the ball to roll their way. It just rides the momentum when you get it. It's just going to be difficult. I do think Moody runs away with this, and unfortunately puts Helena at 1-3 on the season.
Well, Andrew, this was a tight game last year. Moody was a great team a season ago. I think Helena was a step above where they are right now last year, but they really should be a similar team to what we saw last year. Does it all come together and click this week? They've got a big opponent. Are they going to play to the level of the opponent this week?
I'm not really sure just because of what I saw last week at Spain Park. I think Spain Park and Moody, despite their gaps in their classification, both similarly structured teams with, like what Tyler said, really explosive pass games and really solid defenses, especially on the front seven. And those were the things that gave Helena problems last week. They had problems containing the edges and allowed a lot of deep balls to Kenna Rigo and Mason McClure last week on the offensive side. And then over there on the defense, the front seven kind of bullied this Helena offensive line for most of the night. That's not to say that Helena doesn't have talent and doesn't have potential. I still believe that at its core, this is a very good football team and will go at least 500 this year, if not make the playoffs as well within this region. But they've got to start showing signs of improvement. I think their younger players have to grow up within a game like this. I think there's too much gap to overcome within this one. I think Moody is an incredibly good team. I think Helena's regressed a little bit. But over the course of the season, I think if starting tonight they prioritize those improvements, we could start seeing some more improvements on the back end of the schedule.
Yeah, simply put, Moody's the better team in this matchup. Big thing for Helena, defense has to get a little bit better because the offense hasn't shown they're going to score in the 30s consistently, scoring between 14 and 23 in all 3 games so far. They're going to have to improve on both sides, but that defense in particular are going to have to play much better to suit Helena's style of play the rest of the way. Guys, let's jump into Calera Chelsea real quick. The Calera Eagles get a little bit of a confidence boost last week. They battle against Pelham, almost pull off that win, fall 37-34. Now they host Chelsea tonight, coming in off of a bye week. The Hornets get a little bit of rest after their loss a couple of weeks ago to the Pelham Panthers. This is a game where it looks like Chelsea, a physical bunch, running the football, getting back to that approach on defense. They want to look more like the team than the first 2 weeks that dominated. Do they do that tonight against this Calera bunch that looked to create some confidence last week? Andrew, I start with you.
I think this is the perfect opportunity for Chelsea to bounce back in that regard. I think they've used the break to be able to refocus a little bit. And I think overall this team is built to go very well down the stretch as long as they prevent some of those plays along the edges and they start focusing a little bit more on offense, about channeling that form they showed through the first 2 games, because especially against Wetumpka, a team that we expect to be one of the playoff contenders within Class 6A, they looked extraordinarily well. Now, obviously, they took a massive step down against Pelham. I think a strong front 7 from that was definitely a good a thing that was going to cause a lot of damage for them in that regard. But I think Calera overall, despite the defensive improvements that they've shown this season, I don't think it's going to be consistent enough from the Eagles to get them over the top. Now, if Calera plays up to its strength, this is going to be an incredible ball game and probably one of the best on the slate all night. But they haven't been able to put it together for more than a quarter or so at a time over the course of the past few weeks. So until they start doing that, I'm going to have to trust the Hornets will do the same.
Well, Tyler, I jumped to you about saying, the same thing. This is a Calera team, showed some improvement last week. Do they have enough improvement to overcome the gap, really, with the way the defense has played so far this season? Can they take down this physical Chelsea offense and pull off an upset tonight over the Hornets?
Well, I think the fact that Chelsea had a bye week last week is really going to help them. They got some rest after that devastating loss to Pelham. I think they get back on the groove this week with Chase Malone and Morgan Barnes there at running back. They still got the 3-quarterback system going on. I just think it's going to be too much for Calera, especially after they exhausted all that energy trying to come back and take that upset on the road at Pelham. It's just going to be very tough. I do see Chelsea winning this game, but actually, guys, I think it will be very close.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I could see it being close with the confidence Calera gained last week, but the defense giving up 36.8. It can be a close game. That number tells me Chelsea wins this football game, especially with their physical running attack. I think in the second half, they've worn down the Calera defense, and they're able to score some points. But because of that approach, it is going to be, like you said, I think a little bit closer than a lot of people think. We got 3 more to talk about. Let's start with Oak Mountain, Tuscaloosa County. And as we jump into these final 3 games, we got to tell you about Wayne's Pest Control, proudly sponsoring the Thompson Warriors, Oak Mountain Eagles, and Spain Park Jaguars on this year's Shelby County Football pregame show. While those teams are playing defense against their opponent, Wayne's Pest Control is playing defense for your home this football season. Don't let mosquitoes, fleas, or ticks sideline your family's outdoor fun. Wayne's environmentally safe mosquito treatments will keep your yard clear, and their affordable Mosquito Plus program will also eliminate fleas and ticks. Protect your family and pets today and take the bite out of the great outdoors. For quality service and peace of mind, trust Wayne's Pest Control. Call 866-WAYNES-1 or visit callwaynes.com to learn more. Guys, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this game. Oak Mountain, Tuscaloosa County. Oak Mountain sitting at 2-2 right now. Tuscaloosa County 0-4. The Eagles riding a 2-game losing streak, but this is a game with the way that they play, they should be able to win as they get an old coach of the Oak Mountain Eagles and Chris Bell on the road at Tuscaloosa County. Tyler, I start with you, former Oak Mountain student. Let me get your quick thoughts here on Oak Mountain tonight.
I mean, the game plan for Chris Bell is simple. Run the wing T, run the triple option.
Yeah.
And I think this is a game for Oak Mountain to really execute, play heavy in the box, and get up front tonight. As long as they don't let Tuscaloosa County outside, they should be fine. I think on offense, this is a game for Marty Myers and Charlie Vaccarello to thrive, especially mobilely on the ground. I do think Oak Mountain brings a heavy ground presence in this game and exposes Tuscaloosa County and eventually gets the win here.
Yeah, Andrew, your thoughts?
I think it has to be a get-right game for Oak Mountain, because if you don't, it's going to be an incredibly difficult schedule down the stretch. There's been a lot to like about Oak Mountain so far this season. I think it's definitely improved on the defensive side, but the offense has been extremely inconsistent. If they get back to what they're good at, which is running the ball, and then complementing it with some pretty good passes alongside it, I think this team can really run over Tuscaloosa County in a big way, set themselves up going well into the bye week, and then we'll see what happens down the stretch.
Yeah, both offenses struggling this season. Oak Mountain scoring 12.5, Tuscaloosa County 8.5. The big difference in this one, Tuscaloosa County giving up 56 points per game. Oak Mountain's defense against a pretty challenging schedule, giving up just 25 points per game. So that defensive difference is going to make a huge difference in this football game tonight. The Oak Mountain Eagles should go on the road and walk away with a win against Tuscaloosa County. Well, that takes us to the Spain Park Jaguars, where Andrews hit the road to catch that game against Benjamin Russell, a game that many of us feel could be for the region championship this year. So, Andrew, since you're breaking up a little bit, I'm going to jump to you first on this one and see if we can get your thoughts in on this game as the Jags hit the road. Yep, we lost Andrew there, so we'll see if he can reconnect.
I made the drive out here.
Hey, Andrew, I'll get you to reconnect real quick and jump back on if you can, and we'll start with Tyler here on this game. We'll see if Andrew's service can improve there when he jumps back on in just a second. But, Tyler, big road game for the Jaguars as they take on Benjamin Russell tonight. Two teams that on paper look very similar on both sides of the ball. What's the difference maker and who walks away with the win in this one?
It's really all dependent on if that Spain Park defense can play as well as they did last week. When you had E.J. Curley and J.D. Bonnaby combined for 20 tackles last week, that was a real difference maker in that win over Helena. Now, when you think about it this week, Benjamin Russell has a lot of good offensive firepower, and Kirk Johnson, their head coach, knows how to win after coming over from Montgomery Catholic. When you've got Cedarian Morgan and Kingston Pryor as your main offensive weapons, I think that's going to be a real focal point for Ben Russell tonight. And if they expose the Spain Park defense, watch out, because I think it could get ugly if Spain Park's not careful. But I do think they keep this game close. I just think Ben Russell's going to get this one back after last year's loss, Alec.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very tight football game. But Spain Park and what we've seen, my question mark for them coming into the season was the receiver position. The receivers have stepped up in a big way. They've had success. I expect that to continue with Brock Bradley at the helm at quarterback. I think they have a big night offensively. I think both teams have a big night offensively. I predicted a shootout in this game, so I think you're going to see some fireworks. But Spain Park's been so consistent defensively. I think that defense makes a big play in the second half that's able to make the difference. I think the Jags, with that offense and the big play from the defense, walks away with a big win, which I think the winner of this game is going to win the region championship this year, just looking ahead at what we've got. So a big opportunity there for Spain Park in that game if they can walk away with the win. I think they do. Tyler's on the other side of the fence, just like an Oak Mountain graduate would be when it comes to the Spain Park Jags. So, and if you didn't know, I'm a Spain Park graduate. So a lot of homerism going on tonight there between our two teams. But, Tyler, that brings us to the game that I'm at tonight. Andrew, unfortunately, is off right now. We'll see if we can get him back in here in just a second with his mic and camera. Andrew, you got us? Yeah, he's still struggling a little bit. So, Tyler, let's just go ahead and jump into this Thompson-Vestavia Hills game. This is a game that's maybe a little bit tougher of a matchup than we thought it might be coming into the season. Vestavia has taken on a tough schedule so far this season, and they've played some good football. Sitting at 3-1, that lone loss is to Hewitt-Trussville, 28-14. But outside of that, they've scored 42 against Auburn and Hillcrest, two very good football teams. Scored 49 against Westside, South Carolina, and they've given up 28 or less in all four games defensively. This is a good Vestavia team, but Thompson maybe not only the best team in the state, they're, I think, a top 10 team nationally this year.
Man, this game is just very intriguing. It feels like when you think about it, Vestavia has all the weapons they need to succeed. When you got a guy like Charlie Tapp, quarterback, who's matured so much, you got Bryce Lemaster, Carson Purdy, Noah Boylan, who can all run the ball. And like you said, this team, man, it's hard to stop them. I think I read a quote from head coach Robert Evans saying that, there's no easy answer for Thompson, and anybody who says otherwise is a straight-up liar. I think he's putting it real bluntly.
Mildly, yeah.
Exactly.
I think it could be even worse than that, yeah.
I know. And I think it when it comes down to it, is Vestavia going to be able to stop the weapons that Thompson has offensively? When you talk about guys like Seaburn and Price Lewis, Darian Mosley, Cedric Kimbo, all of them to say the same, it's just going to be really tough. I think it's going to be very close.
Yeah.
But
Well-
ultimately, Thompson will pull out that win at home and keep the undefeated streak going.
Yeah, it's one of those. Honestly, Vestavia, too, has been the team that really in the regular season the last couple of years has challenged Thompson more than anybody else. And so it's one of those things, do they have their number, not necessarily to beat them, but to play a physical game and keep this game close? And you look at this Vestavia team, I mean, how much better does it get than 36.8 points per game offensively and giving up just 18.3 on the defensive side? Well, I'll tell you how much better. Thompson scoring 42.5 and giving up 7.5. This is a team, and the schedule they've taken on and playing one of the top 5 teams in the country. This is a very good football team. And what stands out to me, I think Vestavia is going to challenge them tonight. This is the best Vestavia has been in a while, and they've been pretty good the last couple of years. But what stands out to me, Thompson's offense, the first 2 weeks of region play, 110 points scored. Meanwhile, the defense gives up 0 in both those games too. But beyond that, the offense and what they've been able to do has been such an impressive thing. But head coach Mark Freeman, who's the offensive guru, not pleased. He wants to see more methodical drives because he knows against a team that, like Vestavia, that's going to slow the pace, be physical up front, you're going to have to sustain long drives, and that's what they're going to need tonight. I think last week his message to the team came at a good time because what they've got ahead after what they did the first 2 weeks of region play, a big deal for the Thompson Warriors. Right now, though, they're just clicking on all cylinders. I think the Thompson Warriors on their home field pick up another key region win here in Class 7A Region 3. So that's going to do it for this week's Shelby County High School football show. Tyler, have fun out there at Moody. Big opportunity for the Helena Huskies there. Andrew will have your updates down at Spain Park. I'll have your updates here at Thompson. So follow along all night long with our coverage, live tweets throughout, obviously story and photos and videos coming after the game. So make sure you're following us on all of our platforms, our website, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you're not following us on YouTube right now or TikTok, make sure you get over there. We've got a ton of fun shorts that are coming out all week long, and we'll keep doing that throughout the football season, 3 a day, every day throughout the football season as we have some fun there. So follow along with us all night, and we'll see you next week. It's going to be a fun night. Tyler, enjoy. Everybody else, enjoy your football Friday night.